In March of this year, I sat around a table with a number of white Jews planning a racial justice workshop. We talked about logistics and integrating feedback, and then a question arose and hung in the air. Who are we accountable to? This question was easy, I thought, but no one else seemed to be so sure. How did they not think of what was right before them? I had told my planning group that I am Puerto Rican and Cuban. Was I now somehow invisible? I began to doubt myself. I was new. This was my first meeting. Maybe I should stay silent. This year, the Jewish community has been forced to think about racism, and yet the conversations and actions are almost always phrased as us, the Jews, in solidarity with them, the people of color. In this paradigm of us and them, there is no room for someone to be both a Jew and a person of color. But people are Jewish and of color. I am here before you. This year, I've told my story over and over again. I've dug into relationships. I've made space for Jews to talk about race. I've led workshops. I've organized Jewish institutions to be more racially just. And I've made myself utterly exhausted. There are many days I want to stop. But I know that if I do, I will be forced to choose a side, to be a Jew or a person of color. And I don't want to have to choose. No one should have to make that choice. So that night in March, in a room full of colleagues and friends, I realized again that my voice matters, and that my presence matters, and that I must continue to be visible and speak when my identity is silenced. So I spoke, and I said, there are people in our community that are of color. That is who we are accountable to. That night, I was heard and finally seen, but those moments are all too rare. A good one-to-one ends with an ask. So I'm calling on you to act. I call on you to see Jews of color, to listen to the experiences of Jews of color, to support Jews of color as leaders. And I call on you to challenge racism in yourself and in your homes and in your community. This year has taught me we must do better.